A witness and police are talking about an officer-involved shooting in Newport News. It ended with an 18-year-old in the hospital and an officer on leave. Investigators say an officer chased a man who had a gun through the East End last night. Family members identified the suspect as Antonio Miller. Dozens of witnesses were there when the shooting happened. One took this video seconds after the officer shot Miller. Then on your side's Collett spoke with Miller's mother today. Katie, what does she have to say?
Tom, Markeitha Miller did not want to speak on camera, but she did tell me her son has made mistakes in the past. She says he did commit a couple of crimes, but he was trying to get his life back together. When I asked her if she was surprised her son had a gun with him last night, she said she didn't want to talk about that. Things are back to normal today in the Marshall Court area of the East End in Newport News. It's a big change from this.
You going to jail. You shoot him. Why you shoot him?
A resident took this video less than 24 hours ago after a police officer shot an 18-year-old family members identify as Antonio Miller.
Hey, this is something.
Investigators say this all began after 7 last night when a police officer saw a man walking with a gun. The officer alerted another nearby who saw a person matching the suspect's description.
He attempted to pull up to the person, ask him to, come over and he'd talk to you, whatever. Then the suspect took off running.
Police spokesman Thurston says after a brief chase, the man ran through an apartment building out the other side and into a scuffle with the officer. Residents outside watching it all.
So I didn't see him, as the youngin with the gun actually, until he came up. And I was like, wow, he got a gun, he could have run this way. But he just collapsed and laid down and gave off. He gave in.
This man wants his identity hidden, but says he watched the officer handcuff Miller on the ground.
As things progressed, people cussing, fussing, he got up waving a gun, get back, get back, get back. And then he shot this little boy.
But you're saying you watched the officer handcuff him and then shoot him.
I watched him handcuff him and pepper spray him. At the same time, he moving because his eyes is burning.
The suspect was handcuffed after he was shot, which is a very common practice in law enforcement.
And Thurston says it's common practice to handcuff someone who's been shot because it's an officer safety issue. He says just because someone was shot does not mean that will stop them from reaching from a nearby weapon. Now, as for those who stand by their statement saying the officer first handcuffed the teen and then shot him, well, Thurston has a message for them. What he has to say that could impact the investigation, new at 6. Collett, 10 on your side.
And the officer who fired the shot is on administrative leave pending the outcome of the investigation. And by the way, Antonio Miller's mother tells 10 on your side her son will be in the hospital for a few more days. And when he's released, she says he will head to jail.